Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series where we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 53rd episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers titled Fowl Play. We start this episode at the youth center where Angela is manhandling these children, forcing them to sit and watch Zach, who is juggling. Bulk and Skull come up saying that they can do it, and of course they end up looking like idiots and they fall on the ground before they hit each other. Then Zach pulls out two plastic snakes which freak out Bulk and Skull for some odd reason, and they run away on top of each other. Zach says to think smart to get out of a jam, and this makes Angela wet as hell. She even gives him a peck on a cheek. The four other Rangers come over and they make fun of him. Where the hell is Tommy? Then Rita is on the moon and says that she'll do everything in her power to show Zach what a real peck on the cheek feels like. Is Rita going to try to fuck Zach? Back at the youth center, Kimberly says that they have to get to the mall to meet up with Tommy, and they invite Zach, but he says he's going to stick around here to be with the kids / Angela, and Kim even gets him to look over at her by lying and says that she's talking to some hot dude, but Angela's not. It's a cute moment. Finster is working on his new monster, the Peckster. That's too close for comfort to the term pecker. In the park, the four Rangers get jumped by putties to the tune of Ron Wasserman's Combat. Zach is talking to Angela at the juice bar, and she asks why he never told her that he's so good with kids. And he says, "You know me, I hate to brag." This causes Ernie to choke on his drink and says, "Sorry, must have gotten something stuck in my throat. Must be affecting my hearing too." In the best line delivery that man has ever given. I love this episode. Angela asks Zach if he has any plans for tonight, and then they're interrupted by a monster attacking the city on a TV. A little girl says that she's not worried because she knows that the Power Rangers will save us. It makes it sound like she thinks everyone else is gonna die, and that's like totally fine. Zach asks Bulk and Skull to make him disappear by stepping into a curtained box and wave a wand with the phrase, "I am a goon," which is amazing. Then the only way to bring him back is to say Zach. They look, and Zach is gone, right into the hallway behind them. Why didn't he just morph out of there? Well, that's what he's doing now, so whatever. In the city, Zach fights some putties while the other Rangers also fight some putties in the park. Then the Peckster comes down, and Zach and him fight. Zach brings out the power axe, but even that's not doing much. Then Peckster just says, "We'll finish this some other time." He leaves. Zordon says to go back to the youth center because the others can handle the putties themselves. Meanwhile, we cut to see them struggling against the putties. It's kinda great. Then the putties disappear before talking to Zordon, and they go to the command center. Zordon and Alpha catch them up on the Peckster, and Trini asks where Zach is, and Kim asks about Tommy, and Zordon says he'll only be brought out if needed. The four morph. Peckster literally flies by them and it hurts them before the putties just appear from the ground below them and punch them in the face. At the youth center, there's a kid playing with the black kickball, and Bulk walks over to Angela and tells her that they should catch the submarine races. I know it's supposed to be like a euphemism for like making out, but it really just makes it sound like he wants her to suck his dick underwater. Bulk accidentally says Zach, and he appears again, and Ernie brings over everyone to look at the Peckster, who is fighting the other Rangers on TV. I feel like this is the time for the Green Ranger, but Zach looks at balloons and holds the kickball in his hands, and that's when you realize that all of this time, Walter Jones has been missing a finger. The Rangers fight against the putties and the monster, and then Peckster just fires weird ass darts from his mouth. Then he uses his wings to send the Rangers flying back a bit, and then he comes and headbutts the four with ease. Zach flies in morphed with balloons, challenging the monster to pop the Ranger colored balloons. Somehow, the black balloon has turned into a kickball, shutting the Peckster's mouth shut. I'm glad Zach was doing magic earlier, or else this would have been even weirder. Rita makes him grow, and the Rangers call out their Dinozords, forming the Megazord, and then they break out the Mammoth Shield for what has to be like the third time in 53 episodes. Also, I just realized, it's the Mastodon's face, but it's called a mammoth. Peckster uses his wings to send dusty-ass tornadoes toward them, and it makes the Megazord fly back onto the ground. And then it uses its horn laser that we barely ever see on the monster before calling out the power sword. They use it to just murder it. There's a Thanksgiving joke in there somewhere. At the youth center, the kids get all stoked because the Black Ranger used his brains before his fists. And they all wonder where the hell Zach is. Then later, Zach walks in all dressed up while the other Rangers poke fun at him. And he and Angela are gonna go on a date. But then, Angela shows up with all the kids, letting him know that they're gonna go take the kids to a cartoon festival to watch a 5-hour retrospective of Woody Woodpecker. Seriously. Kim actually tries to make it better by saying that Zach didn't think it was a date because he always dresses up to go to the movies. And we end with Zach begrudgingly going with the group. This episode is great. I used to think this episode was just there, but I actually really enjoyed it. I think as an adult, Zach is my absolute favorite Ranger because he actually has a bit of personality and flaws, which I feel like a lot of it is because of the natural charm of Walter Jones. Seriously, the fact that there's a joke about how Zach does brag a lot means that he actually does something other than clean up the park and give money to the homeless. I love it. Will next time continue to be just as good? Find out then, but until then, may the power protect you.